hardly do we admit more than 30% of the students that usually sit for the JAM. UTME exams. So it means that we need more of these schools. And for the fact that government is trying to divest and withdraw its funding to public tertiary institutions, it means that we are heading towards one direction only. That is the involvement of private financing into the educational sectors.
Now let's begin this conversation taking our quote from John Kofi Kufuor, who is a Ghanaian politician, and he served as the president of Ghana from 7th of January 2001 to 7th of January 2009. He once said, "Education, particularly higher education, will take Africa into mainstream of globalization." And I agree with that one. Our next quote is from Elizabeth Cady Stanton, an American writer and activist who was a leader of the women's rights movement in the US. She once said, "The strongest reason for giving women all the opportunities for higher education, for the full development of her faculties, her forces of mind and body, is the solitude and personal responsibility of her own individual life." That's women's emancipation, I guess. All right, let's go to the next one. And this one is from Christine Powers, who is an American author and liberal columnist. And one said, "Higher education should provide an environment to test new ideas, debate theories, encounter challenging information, and figure out what one believes." Great. Next quote we'll be taking is from Roy Romer, who is an American politician, and he once said, "We can do better in higher education, and it is more than just technology. It is also an attitude on the part of faculty. We need to think through how we can produce a better quality at less cost." I can't agree less with this one. And my last quote is from Charis Davids, an American attorney, once said, "We should be encouraging and not penalizing folks who want to pursue higher education." Absolutely spot on. Increasing school fees and all of that, that's penalizing though. Anyways, let's see how this goes related to what we will be discussing today. Very warm greetings and welcome to The Conversation. We're reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabelle Oji. Now, just recently, the Nigerian government approved the establishment of 37 new private universities located in various parts of the country here in Nigeria. According to the former Minister of Education, that's Adamu, he stated that the government approved the establishment of the universities due to the importance of education in bolstering the economic fortunes of the country. Now, this approval has put the number of private universities in Nigeria to 148. In April last year, the government approved 12 new private universities, which brought the figure to 111. Now, there are currently universities, that's 258 universities in Nigeria, 50 federal universities, 60 state universities, and 148 private universities. I'm sure a lot of people would ask, isn't that way too much? All right, the incessant industrial actions in government-owned universities in Nigeria has over the years created a market for the private universities to thrive, which is getting more investment despite reservations by the academic staff unions of universities in the public state universities or the federal universities. Now, Cosmopolitan University was among the 37 private universities that former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration granted operational licenses to operate on May 15th to commence academic activities. According to the statement, the university has started academic programs with 3 faculties, namely management and social sciences, medical sciences, and science, and also engineering. It is set to begin admission of new candidates for the 2022 to 2023 academic session. Now, my guest on the show today is Professor Carl Adams, who is the Vice Chancellor of the Cosmopolitan University. And Professor Carl Adams is a Professor of Information Technology. And we also have Dr. Mani Ibrahim, who is the Registrar of Cosmopolitan University, Abuja. So we'll kickstart this conversation after this quick break. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back. Remember, I will be your host. See you later. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We are reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now let's get straight to our conversation for today. And we have two guests. My first guest is Professor Carl Adams, who is the VC of Cosmopolitan University, Abuja. It's great to have you on the show today, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Great. And my next guest is Dr. Mani Ibrahim, who is the Registrar of Cosmopolitan University, Abuja. Great to have you on the show today, Dr. Mani.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Oh, great. Okay, so now let's kickstart the conversation. But we'll start with you, Professor Carl Adams. Now, I know that you've been. I'm sure you've been in Nigeria for a while, and then
not very long, only a week or two.
Oh, a week or two.
Yeah. So starting a new position at the VC of this fantastic university.
Oh, great. Yeah. So like aside Nigeria, what other African country have you been to?
Not many. I've been to the top part of Africa, around the Middle East and so on. But this is actually the first time I've been in Africa, main Africa.
Oh, great.
Which is fantastic.
Oh, great. So now, because you say it's fantastic, now we always hear that there's always that proverb that if you want to hide something for so that an African will not see it, put it in a book, even though I know that's a cake. Do you think does it still hold sway with what you've seen?
No, last week was interacting with many, over 100 different academics, and they're all from, in a workshop in Abuja, all from across all of Nigeria, and they're at the top level, and they're engaged in doing fantastic activities, research at the top level. So the idea that somehow it's sort of second rate being in Nigeria or Africa is false. Perhaps we don't market as much, but you have really good people here.
Great. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that. So now let me bring the same question to you, Dr. Mani. I know that you've been a scholar, you've had interest in national issues, SDGs and all. Would you say that proverb, hide anything inside a book and then no Nigerian or African will want to look into it, does it still hold sway?
No, I don't think it does. In the real context of it, to generalize in that way and manner, it's true that we are experiencing a low reading culture across all ages. It's not what it used to be maybe a few years back, decades ago. But it still doesn't mean that we're not scholarly. It doesn't mean that we are not into research. It doesn't mean that we are not catching up with what is happening globally, so that we are not left behind in the knowledge economy that is driving the world today.
Okay.
But I think the truth of it is that maybe we need to encourage people to do more reading. There is a lot that can be done in terms of providing the avenues. How many public libraries do we have, and how many of them are really functioning and available, and how much do the communities, parents and school encourage young people to catch the reading culture early enough so that it is sustained. Now, I think some of these things maybe can be looked at so that we have a different view from what you're trying to project.
All right, so I'm going to ask you, even at such a time when in Nigeria, where the exchange rate is, we have this precipitous decline or in our national currencies compared with other currencies. You still have the fuel subsidy is gone. You have so many multinationals leaving the country. And then last I checked, 258 universities in Nigeria, over 100 private universities. Why did Cosmopolitan decide to invest in education, university at such a time as this?
Okay, fine. Let me give you an example. As at 2001, the city of Moscow has 70 universities in just Moscow, one city. And so when you look at the entire, let's say, universities in, say, the USSR, or let's look at or other countries that have similar populations as Nigeria, we're not yet there. But most importantly, you need to understand that we have problems of access to tertiary education in Nigeria. Hardly do we admit more than 30% of the students that usually sit for the JAM. UTME exams. So it means that we need more of these schools. And for the fact that government is trying to divest and withdraw its funding to public tertiary institutions, it means that we are heading towards one direction only. That is the involvement of private financing into the educational sector. So
and you don't see it as, sorry I had to put in there, because a lot of people see this is just a massive proliferation of tertiary institutions, especially with the private schools. You don't see it as that?
No, you don't have enough. It cannot be an issue of proliferation, because we need more schools. At least we should be able to admit maybe 50% of these applicants in the long run. Okay, but we're not there. We need more schools. We need more quality schools. We still have, tens of thousands of Nigerians going abroad to seek university education. So the idea is that we should be able to set up universities that are of the same quality or even higher qualities than the universities people go abroad to study, so that we're able to, one, reserve or preserve our foreign exchange. In that way, we're growing the economy, when we're building capacity, we're providing jobs, and we're making the country improve. And I think people should be encouraged to go into these ventures.
Awesome. All right, so Professor Cole, I've seen people asked that why not research centers? Because I know that you have an interest in research. So why not build a research center? Why not build military formations? Why not something else? Why not medical? Why university?
Well, because students are important. If we want to grow the economy, if we want to keep the skills in Nigeria and stop the brain drain, we've got to bring a tertiary level, a higher education level up, and keep it at that main level. We've got the skills across Nigeria, and this is where you need private universities to come in and be flexible and to fill the gaps. As Dr. Mani was saying, there's a big gap in the number of students that want to take their education to the next level, to take up degrees, and the capability is just not there. So we need to grow that capability, but also we need to grow the capability and get quality. Absolutely. Quality is at the heart of making
So what you're offering?
Yeah, so what we're offering, for instance, is international level quality. And this is where we're drawing upon the best practices around the world, for insights from the US, UK, across Europe, and bringing that in. So there'll be no need to go to UK or Berlin or wherever to do your degree, because you can get the same quality degree at a fraction of the cost.
Fraction.
So this is.
I like the fact you said fraction of the cost.
Well, this is a really key theme for many of the parents trying to fund their children going abroad. The interest rate goes up, the dollar goes up. How on earth can they afford to send the children abroad? And still, the opportunities here, because when people go abroad, only a fraction of them come back. All that investment, from all the schooling all the way through to the higher education, has sort of been lost to the nation. We want to keep as many of those key skills and those key people in there to develop the economy. Awesome. This is why we're focusing on developing skills. So going back to research. Yeah, research is important, but why is research important? It's important because we can feed that back in to our students. It's a what we term a research-informed education system.
Okay.
So we encourage our staff to do research. We bring in research. We collaborate with research. We collaborate with researchers across Nigeria, not just internationally. Certainly, we're international with our collaboration. We've got collaboration with people in the States, Japan, Europe, UK. And yes, certainly that's international collaboration, and we're generating knowledge of the best of the world, rubbing shoulders with the best of the world, and we've got to feed that back into our students and other students across Nigeria as well.
So I hear people say that we are looking forward to having a university that I hate to use the word, the government universities might not have such, but then some people will tell you that we're looking forward to having a private university that will bring up research centers so that the next, probably the next COVID-19 vaccine might be produced in Nigeria.
Yes.
Probably the next HIV and AIDS vaccine might be produced in Nigeria. Should we be looking forward to that from the Cosmopolitan?
Very much so. We mentioned the international collaboration. We've got 2 or 3 fairly big projects. So one of them where we're involving universities from Nigeria as well is looking at AI. This is one of the areas where it's really taken off around the globe. And we should celebrate the other universities interested in AI. Was it 5 new universities? Not new universities, 5 existing universities have got a big contract from the EU to develop master's courses in AI, where we ourselves have got again, big projects there, developing AI, we're involving the students in that activity, setting the standards of how to involve AI and bring it into the courses.
Okay.
So we have a fantastic opportunity to help Nigeria be, if you like, the next software industry lead, like much as India is. It's a software center. We can actually take forward Nigeria into that next level. So you say the next vaccine. Well, the next vaccine may be generated by AI. And the next vaccine will be drawn upon the skills, not just, and again, it's usually global collaboration. And that's where, if we can develop those skills within our university and other universities, we can develop those skills to make best use of AI.
Okay.
We can lead the world in that. So it will be a collaborative team, and Nigeria will be at the heart of that.
Oh,
so
awesome. Absolutely
research
awesome.
centre, but that's going to be informed by making sure our students have those skills and expanding those skills into the economy, being in business, interacting with business.
Okay.
Yeah, if I may add, Cosmopolitan University is just about 2 months old. And within this period, we've been able to bring in a research collaboration with other universities. 3 other universities in Nigeria, based university. We're looking at University of Lagos, and we're bringing in UNN as well to team and partner with 4 universities from Europe, Japanese universities, American universities, and universities from Southeast Asia to look at these issues of research in the areas of IA for teaching and the ethics that is involved. Now, this is to show you that we're very keen and serious about research, even though we have not opened our doors.
I was going to ask you that you've not, because you've not yet opened your doors.
Yes, but
you started the groundwork.
Because we have the manpower and we have what it takes. We have the connection and we know how to go about these things.
Okay, so now I hear you say that I have a lot of work with regards to research. Now, what is the plan? Because last I checked, you've not, in terms of accreditation of courses, what is the plan to get quick accreditation of courses? Because that's where most Nigerians have issues with.
Yes, you see, you need to understand the evolution of university to understand how these things play out. First of all, what you need to do is to get an approval from the National Universities Commission and a license from the federal government for you to operate as a university. When you have this in place, then you wait to admit the students, which is the process we're going into now. And then it will mean that we are now recognized by JAM after NUC. and then we can now bring in students. It is when the students have studied for the first year, they're 200, and at 300 level, then the regulators, majorly NUC now, will come and check what we have been doing to see whether it's in line with what it's supposed to be. And it's at that stage that we can get accreditation.
So to be sure that you've not dropped standards.
Yes. So accreditation is not what we're thinking about now. It's 3 years down the line. But most importantly, we have no worries, we have no fears that when the time comes, the courses that will be running will be accredited, because we're starting on a very good and sound footing.
Awesome.
In addition, we're looking for professional accreditation in each of the courses. So in the computing arena, we've got computer science, information system, a whole bunch of computer-related courses. There will be pushing forward towards internationally recognised BCS accreditation.
Oh, great.
So this is professional qualifications.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to you, Dr. Mani. So what, since you are the registrars, what is the plan for, because a lot of parents at this time would say that they cannot afford to take their children to school, and then some people have decided to take their children away from some schools because they feel it's so expensive. So what is the plan for, one, scholarship, and what is the plan, two, for postgraduate studies?
Yes, let me start with the postgraduate studies. As it is in the Nigerian university system, a university is not allowed to go into postgraduate studies until they graduate their first set of undergraduates.
Okay.
So postgraduate studies is maybe 4 or 5 years down the line.
Okay.
But we're making preparations by having top-notch professors from across the world.
Okay.
And some of them being former deans of postgraduate schools, like Professor Carl Adams. He has been the dean of the postgraduate school at the University of Portsmouth in London, and so many other people that, as we're preparing and teaching the undergraduates, with hindsight, we're also putting on, the necessary things in place so that we can move into the postgraduate studies seamlessly. And then as to the other issues as to what we are scholarships we are trying to roll out, of course, we have a very underpriced school fees now, because
how underpriced is underpriced?
Yes, very much underpriced. Maybe really? Up to 50% or so.
Oh wow!
So and then
so even when schools are increasing, you are
we're starting with a very low price, where a lot of our courses are less than ~1 million naira per semester. And we've been to some secondary schools, and we're telling the proprietors that their fees are even going to be higher than our fees, because we understand the need to be able to attract people. Already we have set out scholarships for various categories. One, for pioneer students, they will enjoy scholarships throughout their study.
Okay.
And this is key in the fact that people that have trust and confidence in you and believe in you, and have seen something that maybe others will not see until it is there tangibly. We have scholarships for people who have excellent results, whether in UTME or in their SSCE, or those that have excellent transcripts from their secondary schools. And then we also have scholarships for people who may want to bring 1 or 2 or more of their kids.
Oh, more like a discount?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So there are lots of goodies there. We understand the economy, and as such, our school fees payment regime is also very flexible, allowing people to pay school fees at installments.
Okay. All right, so because our time is fast spent, but let's see how we can manage the next few minutes. Now, I'm going to ask you with regards to anti-bullying. 2 questions. I'll take one to Professor Carl, because if they say cosmopolitan, it means you're opening your doors to all and sundry, from everyone from all walks of life. You have people from abroad, international students and all. So it means that you might have a friction at some point. You will have a friction. It will happen, because that's what human beings will come together. So at that point, what is the plan for in terms of racism, or you trying to cut out this.
Yeah.
I am bigger. The thin line between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. That's one on the side. That's a question you're going to answer. But then, Dr. Mani, I'm going to ask you with regards to anti-bullying. What is the plan for anti-bullying?
Yes, we will not allow it. As a matter of fact, the system is such that we're creating an atmosphere that's very conducive and accommodating in a way that a lot of these things will be on check. The compound, the classes, and the hostels will be on 24-hour surveillance with CCTV cameras and a command and control center. We have a lot of security people around. And then we'll also do some background checks on the students as we admit them, because some of them come with telltale signs that will give you an indication that they will have some, problems. And then part of what we're doing is to expose them to, a more cultured, a more open and acceptable, code of behavior, in a way that we create a level playing field, not to allow anybody to feel.
I'm sure you have your rules and regulations, your code of conduct and all.
We do, yes. And all of those things will help in making sure that people don't go beyond the red lines. And where they cross the red lines, of course, there will be swift and very strict disciplinary measures, to serve as deterrents for others too.
Great. All right.
So we have explicit processes and transparent processes. We're trying to attract international students from all parts of the world. We'd like to bring in some people from Europe.
So when you have people from Europe coming in, and then you have Nigerian, and then they feel like, is this person trying to be racist? What is the plan to ensure that doesn't have that friction doesn't come through?
So part of that explicit process is for people have an avenue to report. And then when it's reported, it can be resolved. So it's usually getting people around a table and talking and saying, here's the expected practice. You don't do this. If the practice continues outside what we would expect, then we take further measures.
What does further measures mean? Expulsion?
Well,
because you're still a new school and then you're looking for the people.
Finally, yeah. Well, if people have to come in a safe environment and learning a safe environment, whoever they are.
Okay.
So racism, sexism, all that. We should all be in a safe environment in that learning, in a safe learning culture, and it's a culture of respect. It has to be. So we have ultimate measures. Yes, we could look at expulsion, but before you get to that stage, there'll be lots of stages, and again, a lot of sort of racism may be just a lack of understanding of differences, and that's where when you get people around a table and talk through, well, what are the issues here? Why do you think this? That why have you got that world view? And change that. We're looking at changing that world view, because we want to celebrate diversity. Diversity is at the heart. Again, it's in the name. Cosmopolitan, bringing people from all over the world and all over the country, and getting that level playing field. They're all paying the same fees. Yes, some get scholarships, which is great. We can celebrate excellence wherever it is.
Great, awesome. All right, before we'll finally let you go, I'm going. Ben Sassi once said, an institution of higher education is a partnership among students and alumni, faculty and administrators, donors and trustees, neighborhoods and more to build a community and a culture. What kind of community or culture are you building?
Brilliant, really good question. Thank you for that. So the community culture that we'll have is regular workshops with students where we're bringing in international speakers. So we're generating that excellence and quality in teaching and access to the worldwide experts in their topic areas. So we'll have expert speakers within AI, within computing, within nursing, within whatever. So we're encouraging students to interact with these in these workshops, and we're bringing in business. We want to look at developing closer links with business. You've got this fantastic resource, all the fantastic students with skills and capabilities that we're developing. We want to have placements for those. We want to involve them with those. And again, that community, it's an international community where we're exploring and developing links with international universities so we can get exchange students. So maybe 6 months at one university, come back here and bring in students from those universities. The world is international. We've got an international footprint, and we're developing that international capability with our students. So we want those big tech companies in the States to say, well, we want some AI experts, we want some nursing experts, or we want some engineering experts. We want them to be looking down the list. Oh yes, let's go to Cosmopolitan, let's go to Nigeria. That's where the top people are. We know about these people because we've been involved in workshops with them.
Awesome. All right.
Yes, if I may add here, we all know about the triple helix, that is the university, the community, and maybe government. But we're going beyond that. We're going beyond that with 2 additional steps. We're looking at university, we're looking at community with the society, we're looking at government, we're looking at relationship with industry and civil society. In that way, we'll cover all that we need to cover in terms of our immediate community and the broader international community, as it should be.
We would encourage things like volunteering, interacting with business, doing placements, whatever.
All right, awesome. All right, Dr. Mani, before I let you go, I know that you have interest in SDGs and all. Now, goal 5 of the SDG says, and quote, ensure inclusive and equitable education, quality education, and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Are we there yet, even though we're in 2023 and we're looking at 2030, less than 8 years? And what is the plan?
Yeah, for all the 13 areas, it's still work in progress. Generally, it's work in progress. And inclusiveness, I think to a very large extent, Nigeria is doing very well. There are a lot of opportunities for people across gender, people with disability, and so on. And then lifelong learning, of course, the government and in other sectors, including our faith-based organizations, have continued in that line. The most important thing is to make people to be able to connect with the environment and know, our place and our position in the scheme of things, to understand the need to conserve and to preserve, our ecosystem, and to be able to leave a less of carbon footprints in the things we do, to make it sustainable. I think that's the whole idea. And Nigeria is doing very well, and we've had the government focus on this. And what we want to do is, in as much as possible, for everything we're doing, we link it to what is in the SDGs. And in that way, we develop that consciousness in our students about these millennial goals and how they can, come in and contribute to seeing it being achieved. Because a lot of them will be doing wonderful things way before 2030.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time having this discussion with you. Thank you so much, Dr. Mani Ibrahim, Registrar, Cosmopolitan University, Abuja. It's been a wonderful time having this talk with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Carl Adams, VC or Vice Chancellor of Cosmopolitan University, Abuja. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
All right, viewers, that's where we end this segment of the show. We have been chatting with Dr. Mani Ibrahim, who is the Registrar of Cosmopolitan University, Abuja, and we also had a chat with Professor Carl Adams, the Vice Chancellor of Cosmopolitan University, Abuja, and that's where we end this segment of the show. Let's go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue this conversation as we take another leg of the discussion, and this time on national matters. See you later. Most people are trekking, so why do you have so much, that exorbitant amount being earmarked for vehicles and logistics when the people that you are representing are not even breathing?
Yes, they will breathe. This is the first stage for them. As they resume office, they are inaugurated, they have their leadership of the Senate. Let them settle down and Nigerians will survive. In Niger, how much are they buying fuel? Even before this coup happened. In UK, how much are they buying fuel?
Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We are reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now we'll go straight to discussing other matters. And we have Honorable Mutaka Ahmed Ibrahim, President, Arewa Youth Conference for Sustainable Future of Nigeria. Great to have you on the show today, sir.
Well, thank you too, and nice to meet you.
Great to meet you also. All right, now let's start with Niger coup. I hear people, in fact, there was a protest in Kano State last weekend, and then people say that they're saying no to the coup, and then some people say that is the best way to go. Where does Arewa stand, especially Arewa youth? Where do you stand in all of this?
Okay, thank you for asking me this question. But I think about Niger coup, there is nothing new. You know, for a long time, Niger have been working under France. And now they decided to form a government that they will be independent. You know, they are always loyal. They are like slaves to them. So this coup, to me, there is no problem. Let them, since they introduce somebody that will be the prime minister, that's a government of a year or something, so that they can have a proper election and process of democracy will continue. There is no problem, because it happens in so many places. So in these ECOWAS countries, like Cote d'Ivoire, they are like inheriting government. They are not in a democratic process. They are not in constitutional government. Are you getting me? So there is no way somebody that has his own country that you are to decide for him. Actually. Okay, so now I hear people say that what is Nigeria's own problem? Why can't we just mind our own business? We have quite a number of hydra-headed issues that is bedeviling the country with regards to insecurity and all. So why leave ours to fight others, for others? Do you agree with that postulation? Yes, it's best, because you can look at Ukraine and Russia war. The people behind the war that are pushing the war to happen. Now, when Russia destroy Ukraine, what happened? When Biden resumed office as the president of the United States of America, Afghanistan, they have been fighting them, giving them, refugees and supporting them with arms and soldiers for them to fight. But when he comes, he look at the expenditure and the expensive and the situation of the economical, system of the American government. He said that no more, because of what have been spent and what will continue to be spent. So there is no need for us to be in war with our neighboring countries, just our junior sister, nation, that's Niger. We don't need to fight them, because we are going to spend on arms, ammunitions and fair allowances, extra, So are you saying that the ECOWAS resolution, which is chaired by our own president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, are you saying that resolution of going, instead of the diplomatic means, going through the military resolution, are you saying it is wrong? No, I'm not saying it is wrong, but the best way, like what Senate, and the National Assembly advise him, is to let's follow the diplomatic way to resolve this matter, not by power, by force, not by fight, not by killing anybody's blood. Because I can remember when our president, we worked for his victory all the way. Are you getting me? You mean Arewa Youth? Yes, all Arewa Youth, and in so many other platforms that we belong to. And we are influenced people to vote for APC for a good governance to stay. Interesting. Yeah, so, but when the truths come, you have to say it. You have to speak to the truth. Okay. Yeah, the truth is war can never bring solution. I like the fact that you said that you actually supported this government, but when the truth comes, you have to say the truth. Yeah. Awesome. All right, so now let's talk about, because you talked about the Senate, let's divert a little bit and talk about cost of governance. We keep hearing President Bola Ahmed came out to say that don't suffocate the poor Nigerians, let the poor Nigerians breathe. And then the Senate, and you keep hearing all of them say
let's cut cost of governance, let's help Nigerians to breathe and let them have ways that they can actually sustain themselves. But then fuel subsidy is gone. A lot of people are still grappling with the effect of fuel subsidy. Few days ago, in fact, even up until today, still see the story of the Senate planning to spend 40 billion naira for vehicles and all. And then you also saw that story about where the Senate president, even though he came out to deny it, said that he was going to send in prayers to the senators' email. First, it was they were going to send some money for them for their vacation, but then later they changed it to prayers to emails. So, in all of this, if they say let Nigerians breathe, and then they tell Nigerians, okay, we are trying to ensure that we do everything possible to make you breathe, are they actually making Nigerians breathe in their own part in terms of cost of governance?
Yes, they are doing. The reason why I say that is when the Senate president first said, let Nigerians breathe, as Asuwaju, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that made mention of such a proverb. Are you getting me? He's the first person that say it. So the Senate president to say it. And about the spending, you know, the legislature, it has to be, you know, well being treated. They shouldn't be
at the detriment of Nigerians. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. They are the ones that are protecting the right of Nigerians, because it is not all Nigerians that can come and decide for the governance for the Federal Executive Council on this is how it should be, this is how it should be. They represented them. So they should have to be considered about that, and spending 40 billion for their vehicles and logistics for their furnitures, you know, where they stay, is their right. It is constitutionally provided. It's provided. Are you getting me? And then the last word that Oga, the Senate President himself, that
you
said,
Senator Godswill Akpabio.
Senator Godswill Akpabio, His Excellency, the former governor of Akwa Ibom, he is transparent. There is no way for the Nigerians. Is a good leader, because it's for them to know that you are senators, even if they come back to you, they can help you in some financial, you know, hardship that we are facing in Nigeria. You should know that the Senate is taking care of them financially. It's transparent for Nigerians, but it's not good for the senators, because like they feel like they are exposed.
So now let me come back to the questions I've heard some people sent on social media, and the banters, the arguments, and then they say that why spend so much on vehicles, on logistics, when Nigerians, you go to Lagos, a lot of people have decided to park their vehicles, their cars, because they cannot fuel their vehicles anymore. Most people are trekking. So why do you have so much, that exorbitant amount being earmarked for vehicles and logistics, when the people that you are representing are not even breathing?
Yes, they will breathe. You know, this is the first stage. For them, as they resume office, they are inaugurated, they have their leadership of the Senate. Let them settle down, and Nigerians will survive. In Niger, how much are they buying fuel? Even before this coup happened. In UK, how much are they buying fuel? If you remember on their media, you will see when they protested, they come out to the street, they park their car, they close their offices, come out to the street and do protests about the fuel prices. But there is nothing has changed. We are in an era where we must pray. I believe in Allah, you believe in Jesus. We are in the same way of life. It is only the God that will bring solution to the world and for everything. So for the Senate to have that as their logistic and vehicles, finances, there is no problem. And if you remember, they approved palliatives. I just come across one clip that the bosses that Asuwaju, the able president, that brought in, they will be using gas. You know, the charges will be down, not like the way people are suffering now. And then in some states like Borno and Oza, they have been bringing the palliatives foodstuffs for the masses. The Senate have approved 20 billion for each state. Now, it's not the Senate to be blamed, it's the state governors. Some of them have kept quiet and sit down with that money. Nobody wants to talk about it. Some are even saying they will take the student, 1,000 students to abroad, spending 80 something billion on them. Not even shine. You have to invest that money, build an industry whereby you employ the millions of youth that have graduated, have served, and their documents are even dust. And apart from Apabio, you know, apart from the governors, Apabio's aim to the youth is very well. He means well to the youth.
How so?
Yes, very soon we are expecting him to allow us, as we have agreed earlier, that about 5 million youth to be employed. To be employed not in the government system, but in the e-commerce. We are in digital, you know, global economy system now. For Ashwaju, we expected him as a youth to encourage us, as he has an LLC formation of the United States, where he is able to earn, you know, the revenue. That's EIR, that's employer identification number, EIN, for the United States. All the internet that youth are using, spending their data, WhatsApp, you know, Facebook, this and that. There are ways that we change it to employ them as officiously as agency.
All right, let's move to other matters. Nigerian Tribune this morning states on J Crisis, Arewa Forum laments 13 billion naira weekly loss to border closure. And the writer says more than 2,000 trucks of perishable goods trapped at borders. Diversion of flights from Niger's airspace has not been effective. And that's coming from Nathan President. So what are your thoughts in this? Is this coming from the Arewa youth or the general Arewa?
It's the general Arewa.
Okay,
you know,
so tell us more about this.
Actually, you see, Sokoto, Kebbi State. I'm talking about state that has border line with Niger. Niger, there is no difference between Niger Sans and Arewa. Like Jigawa, where I was born, it's just a 200, 500 meters to Niger. Megatari local government in Jigawa State. So there is no way, all that markets that have been taking places, it has been blocked. No way can pass, and it is a very dangerous alarm to our economy. We are the giant of Africa, but to the consumers, you start fighting with them. And apart from that, this economy system, now Russia has dropped their own warning. And when Russia is fighting Ukraine, United States cannot support Ukraine with a proper ammunition and weapons to fight Russia, the superpower. Are you getting me? So the economy of Ukraine and everything has been demolished. So that's what we are afraid of, and that's why we are speaking to the truth that our president, we love him, we support him. Let him consider this, the economical situation of the northern part of Nigeria not to be destroyed, because we had like those that are against us when we voted for him in. They are claiming that Ashwaju want to destroy the northern states. He comes to office with an agenda of destroying the northern region. And we keep telling them that this is not the reason. Maybe he was not to be told, or the people around him that is trusted are not capable enough to advise him well. That's why the imams, the clerics, have visited him and explained to him. So we thank God, Allah has made it possible that he even delegated them to go and discuss with Niger, junta, as they call them, which we know is not something like that up to that level. And now there is a positive response from them that agreed to start to go into the dialogue with the ECOWAS. So we pray that may Allah that caused all this, and for Bazoum and Ashwaju, we are advising them to accept the pet.
I will come back to what you just said. You said we pray that Allah that caused all this. Was it Allah that caused?
Yes, there is nothing there is nothing that will happen without Allah's approval. There is nothing. Even this talking that we are doing with you, it is Allah that make it possible for us to. He made it possible for us to come and sit and discuss it.
So does it cause crisis?
It's not causing crisis. It's an obstacle because of our sins. You know, people have been sinning. People have been doing so many things wrong.
So this crisis is caused
It's obstacle from Allah. So, and you know what? When we say let's start war, when we know the beginning of it, we don't know where it will end. And we don't know who will be affected by it. So that's why we doesn't want it And for just what I just said, that Allah has made it to happen for Bazoum to leave office for now. For him, if he is a truly Muslim believer that he used to quote verses from the Holy Quran, let him know that it is God that throne and dethrone. Let him accept that fate. And let us just face the reality. Though I know Nigeria, we are not on the, is a religious government. We are on constitution, but we are practicing religion. That's the best way and the best stage for us to live. So there is no way you can live without guidance from the holy books. That's it.
All right, let's take other matters. Since we're talking state of the nation, the Guardian newspaper talks about ministerial nomination as litmus test for APC in Southeast. Now let's talk about the ministerial nominations. You've heard so many hue and cries in that regard. Some people say that why go pick retired governors and then make them ministers. Some people say why go and pick governors who their state's electorate refused to elect them to govern them again for the second term, and then you pick them as ministers. Why pick people who are supposed to be retired? And then some people say that the same government talked about youth inclusion, women, 35% affirmation for women, but we're not seeing that yet happening. And then still on that ministerial nomination, we saw how some people are yet to be screened in, like the former governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai, who have said that okay, he's no longer interested. The last we checked. So in all of this, what is Arewa youth saying?
Yeah. So like what I said, I will speak to the truth, whatever. The people around Asuaju, the new cabals, I will not call their names, but we know them.
Oh, are they cabals in this new administration
there
already?
There is.
We are less than 100 days and they are cabals already.
The cabals have took over because there is no way His Excellency Mr. President will nominate Festus Keyamo, who deny the invitation of the 9th Senate and been screened with that crime, because it is disrespect to the chambers of where the lawmaking is happening. But he was screened. But when it comes to El-Rufai, the people behind our lack of development and the electricity shortage, because it was hinted, the leak has come out that El-Rufai may be given a portfolio of the power minister, and they know his capacity. You know what? When he said that I want to clear this issue, he worked with his brain 2/7. So that's why they want to cripple Asuaju's government for not bringing in somebody. Among all the ministers, I didn't see somebody can sit down on his office, on his seat in his office to work like what El-Rufai will do.
Are you saying that over 40 ministerial nominees or designates, are you saying that all of them will not stand on the toes of El-Rufai? Is that what you are saying categorically?
Yes, I have reason. Among of them, who do you see that they stop his screening? Apart from Festus Keyamo. Talk less of those other two.
It was not only El-Rufai that they stopped his screening.
I know, but he is a causative agent of those other two that not be screened. Because
why do you say
because
so?
If they said everybody is screened and El-Rufai, the former governor, the way he shouted, he even talked, he addressed the Mr. President when cabals of Bila during President Muhammadu Buhari is blocking Asuaju to secure that presidential ticket. It was him that led the fight until Asuaju has assumed office. He is the one that talked to Baba Buhari when our leaders from the northern governors that are insisting let it be one tenure system for the south. They said let us do microzoning. He disagreed with them because they directly pointed out former President Jonathan. He was attacked. One of his security aides died. Are you getting me? So we are watching the situation. We know what is what is happening. But our elders doesn't want to come and speak the truth because they are afraid of assassination or killing.
Are you going to call names? Because
I'm not calling.
You're not going to call names.
I just called the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, that everywhere, all over the newspaper and the TV station, assume that he may succeed Buhari. The pictures has go everywhere viral. Even the APC headquarters, the time, are you getting me? When that time come, the APC headquarters was pasted with the Jonathan's posters in this town and so many other states. In Kano, there are street rallies for supporting him. We know the people that are behind that.
And you're not going to mention names?
There is no way we can just mention the name here. I'm just giving you an example, a reference. So the people that are stopping El Rufai from being screened as a minister, as a governor, before, you remember 20 years back, he served as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And he did well. He has a good record. You know, if you go to Kaduna, I don't know if you've been there, the go-slow, the crowd, you know, the blockage of the road, he reconstructed them. He made it very easy for people to follow. So El Rufai issue and the ministerial, we pray them well, we wish them well, but we always call for the people are involved to make sure that if they don't want to destroy our next tenure, not to bring in new other personal interest in this government, because they are trusted by the president. We will come here and mention them if they continue to do like that.
We can't wait to have you mention names.
No, we will not mention. I said we will come here to mention them if they keep doing it. Let El Rufai be screened. We want him as a minister. Even if he say he's no more interested, no, we want him.
And then he says he's no longer interested.
We want him because of the service he's going to offer.
All right, thank you so much for your time with us. It's been a wonderful time.
But you remember, sorry, before we go, about His Excellency, the Senate President. Like I told you, there are empowerment that we are expecting for the youth to reduce the unemployment youth. You know, unemployed youth that have served, they can operate their phones. They are using
and
internet.
you say that their certificate has turned to dust.
Yes, it has come to dust. So that's my own wonder. That's where my own pain is. So I think it is time, very soon, they will be happy. Yes.
Okay, so to those people listening to you right now, I would like to get your last word to them.
Okay.
Before we go, let's hear your last word.
Let them prepare, because there is employment from the officeless agency program of the indivisible, capable and uncommon Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to reduce the hardship, to make them earning the income so that Nigeria will be okay.
Thank you so much, Honorable Multaka Hamed Ibrahim, President, Arewa Youth Conference for Sustainable Future of Nigeria. It's been a wonderful time having this talk with you.
Thank you very much.
All right, viewers, that's where we end this program for today. We have been chatting with Honorable Multaka Hamed Ibrahim, President, Arewa Youth Conference for Sustainable Future of Nigeria. And it's been a wonderful time here on The Conversation. We also talked to Professor Carl Adams, VC of Cosmopolitan University, and the Registrar, Dr. Mani Ibrahim, I beg your pardon, who is the Registrar of Cosmopolitan University, Abuja. And it's been a wonderful time here on The Conversation. I will see you next time. How Time Flies, where you discuss serious matters that concerns our very own country, Nigeria. Till I come your way again. From the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Annabelle Oji. God bless you and yours. God bless Nigeria.